Today's a big day for me, and I wanted to share a little bit of my joy with you. I've got a big box here with a bunch of stuff in it that I wanted to talk about briefly, and maybe just a little bit about why I got what's in here. I was fortunate enough for the Lord to bless me at the end of the year, this past year, in such a way that enabled me to update and upgrade my camera system. So I kind of did it all at one time, well, a lot of it at one time, as you'll see, and I did something that I really didn't expect myself to do, which is I have decided to go a different route than what I've been going with the cameras for quite a while now. So if you've followed this channel at all or watched any of my other videos, you probably already know that I'm a big fan of the Panasonic GH5 that I'm using right now and the entire Lumix system, and I have just really gotten a lot of mileage out of it. It's been such a great set of tools to learn about videography and to grow with it, and they're very capable cameras. But I've always had a little bit of full frame envy, and I've also wanted to have a little bit more low light performance than I get out of the Micro Four Thirds system. So after months and months of thinking about what to do this year, as you know, this past year, a lot of really interesting full frame cameras have come out in the mirrorless sort of landscape. So I thought a lot about them, and I really just did tons of research and spent a lot of time watching reviews and all that kind of stuff, like most of you guys probably have. But I ultimately decided to go with the Sony system, as many have. I really did not expect this. This was the brand that I thought I would be least likely to go with for a number of reasons. But once it came down to making an unemotional decision, I had to really face it that Sony has done the most in the areas that I care the most about. So to start with here, to improve my photography and also act as a good B camera for videography, I have the Sony A7 III, which has been out for quite a while, but I'm still impressed with the specs on this camera, so I'm really hoping that's going to work out well for me as a photography improvement. Like I said, a video backup camera. All right, so I'll get to the A camera here in just a minute. Some people can probably guess what it is. But I've got before I get there, I've got some lenses. I've got the Sony 50mm f1.8, which it's always good to have a nifty 50, so that's what that is. Now, as far as a standard length zoom, I went with the Sigma 24-70 f2.8. Now, after looking things over, I felt like the whole system is going to cost me so much money at one time, I decided I might just do something a little bit on the sort of maybe frugal side for my standard length zoom, at least to start with. So I will see how that goes. It had some great reviews. Now for a telephoto zoom, or a little bit more extended range, with the 70 to 180 Tamron. Now this also looked like a really good buy, so I decided to go with that for my telephoto zoom. And I'll talk more about these maybe in some videos coming up. There's a lot of reviews out there, so I'm probably never going to do a real in-depth review of any of these things. There's really no point. I think all the great reviews have probably already been done. But I do want to share my experience with this system as I kind of get some experience with it, and maybe if there are any of you guys out there that are Panasonic users and you're considering this particular Sony system, maybe I can give some insight on that. And, you know, if it doesn't work out, I'll tell you about that too. I hope it does, because it was a massive expense, as you might imagine, to just do all this at once. But I'm hoping for the best, and I really was impressed by the reviews and the specs that I saw for these things. Now I'm just going to go ahead and go to the pièce de résistance, pardon my unsophisticated pronunciation, but here, the Sony A7S III. And, you know, you probably could have guessed it. This camera has been just blowing up the internet ever since it came out a couple of months ago. So I decided to just go for it and go with this camera. I want to see if the Sony system will work, so I'm going to go with what I consider to be their flagship video camera in their mirrorless line. So I will be very interested to see how this works out, and I'm excited about this camera. Okay, so moving on from there, A few more knickknacks down in this box. Of course, various and sundry things like there's a ND filter, UV filter, and also some step-up rings to make those filters fit these different lens sizes. And I bought this card really kind of, I don't know if I really intended to get this card so much. It was terribly expensive, and ever since making the order, before it got here, I started to think this probably wasn't the wisest purchase in the bunch, because there's only one file format in the A7S III that would require this card, and this card was ridiculous, like $400. So yeah, that's awful for a memory card. So this I will really kind of be thinking about here in the next couple of days with this system as to whether I really needed this, and I certainly will give an opinion about that at some point in the future. And I know there's a lot of opinions already out there about whether it's worth it, and a lot of people say, generally speaking, it's not worth it to have this, but yeah, we'll see. So anyway, moving on from there, I've got a little off-brand extra battery here for the A7 III. This was sort of part of a little kit bundle from B&H for the A7 III. So I was like, why not? A little memory card that'll be good backup for that A7 III as well. And just some other knickknacks that are bundled with things, a little cleaning kit. And, okay, yeah, UV filter and then an extra, oh yeah, my ND filter. So, okay, so I'll maybe talk about some of these things a little bit more in depth at some point, but a lot of that's kind of just general stuff, nothing real exciting there, but you gotta have it. So this actually isn't all. It seems like it should be enough, but there is one more little box here that I wanted to get to behind all of this. All right, so this little box here has a few extra accessories for the Sony cameras, including a couple of extra batteries that I got. Of course, good to always have extra batteries anytime you're on a job, especially. Tiffin ND filter. I wanted the Peter McKinnon one, but it's just a little too expensive right now. I may have to kind of circle back around to that when I feel better about buying it. All right, now for the main thing that was in this box is the Edelkrone Slider 1 version 2. So this will be really exciting to check out. I've been wanting a motorized slider that I could automate for quite a while now for filming myself on various situations, and also if you need to run your sort of wide angle or B camera in an interview and just give it a little bit of movement. So I'm excited about that. That will be fun. Now to go with that, I have the Head 1, which gives you an automated head panning situation, and then also I got the Flex Tilt Head 2, so I can have some control over the angle on that. So anyway, that about wraps it up for now. I actually did get a little bit more. I got a little portable photography background. I didn't really want to show here because it's just a little too big to show in this small spot, and I've already looked it over and set it up and put it away. But I got the X-Drop backdrop holder and the one of the Glenn Dewis backgrounds for whenever I need to do headshots and things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to using that, and maybe that'll show up in some videos at some point. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching all this stuff come out of the boxes. It was exciting for me, that's for sure. And I'm excited to see how the system works out. I'll be curious to see what it's like to transition from the Panasonic Micro Four Thirds cameras, the GH5 and the G85 and the lenses and all that go with that I've been using for the last 3.5 years. And I have really loved those cameras. That whole system's been great for me for most of what I do. But for various reasons, I was compelled to switch and go into a full frame system, and then specifically decided to go with the Sony system. I'll explain maybe more about why that was in some videos in the future, and I also want to share with you what it's going to be like transitioning from the Panasonic Micro Four Thirds system into the Sony full frame system. And I'll tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly if I can, and if you're willing to come back and check out some more videos. and I'd sure appreciate your company. And anyway, that being said, the Micro Four Thirds Lumix system has been great. I have loved it, and I am not getting rid of these cameras just yet. I might eventually sell them if I'm extremely happy with where I've headed with this, and I feel like it covers all the bases and I don't feel lacking in any way. There are a few things that I think I will be kind of missing in terms of ergonomics. I love the GH5 body. I think it's just like one of the best cameras to hold and shoot with. And I also will probably miss a few of those video tools that they put in the software for the camera, or that's in the system for the camera. So I'll just have some remarks to share with you about some of that as I go. I'll try to share my experience with you. If you're willing to come back and keep me company on this journey, and I'd really appreciate that. And the same old crap you always hear at every video ending, click like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. I have to admit that now that all this stuff's out of the box, I'm really not sure where to start. I guess that's a good problem to have.